Austin 2025, a weekend that was supposed to underline Oscar Piastri's dominance, instead unravelled into the season's strangest disaster. The championship leader finished poorly. His car felt like an enemy, and every crucial point slipped away to Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. But the real story wasn't on the track. It was behind McLaren's garage doors. The paddock was buzzing with one word: sabotage. Yes, sabotage. Allegations that McLaren deliberately left Piastri struggling just to give Norris a clearer path to the title. And oddly enough, a few small details seem to point in that direction. From the sprint crash that wiped out both cars to a pattern of decisions that have looked strangely one-sided since Singapore. Even Sky Sports called it a tricky situation for McLaren, because the team's so-called fairness now feels tilted. But the truth isn't as simple as McLaren chose Norris. There are subtleties that might prove the opposite, because Piastri quietly knows exactly what's happening, and he's playing the long game. From his cold, calculated technical insight to a mental composure that even Verstappen has started to notice, Piastri's not just surviving this storm, he's shaping it. Before we break down the details, the pit stop data, the team calls, and the gestures the cameras barely caught, make sure you're subscribed, because here we don't just talk about who won the race, we talk about who got sacrificed for it. Back to Austin. The 2025 United States Grand Prix should have been Piastri's statement weekend. The race where the young championship leader cemented control. Instead, it's where everything started to unravel. The sprint on Saturday was the turning point. Starting from third, Piastri went for an aggressive cutback to reclaim position from Norris, who dived up the inside. But at turn one, chaos. Nico Hülkenberg's Sauber clipped the rear of Piastri's car, bounced wide, and smashed into Norris. Both McLarens out. Verstappen cruised to victory, and the championship picture changed in an instant. Piastri still led, but the gap to Norris shrank to just 22 points. Verstappen, once far behind, now trailed by only 55, a margin that could vanish in 2 weeks. Zak Brown didn't hide his frustration, calling Hülkenberg's move amateur hour from a veteran driver. Team principal Andrea Stella added that rivals needed to be more prudent in turn one. But beyond the official lines, the paddock was asking another question. Was McLaren truly neutral between its drivers? That suspicion didn't appear out of thin air. Just weeks earlier in Singapore, Norris had forced Piastri wide at turn one, nearly into the wall. The incident was clear on the onboard, yet McLaren said nothing. No team order, no instruction for Norris to give the place back. "This isn't fair," Piastri said over team radio, clearly frustrated. But when the race ended, Norris stood on the podium. Piastri finished fourth. The team later claimed Norris faced internal repercussions, though no one ever explained what that meant. To many, it felt like a formality, a way to keep Piastri calm, nothing more. So when Austin happened, observers began connecting the dots. Norris seemed to walk away lightly from his mistakes. Piastri, meanwhile, was often blamed for being too aggressive. Sky Sports called it another tricky test for McLaren's fairness, one that didn't seem to favour their Australian driver. It looked different. At Monza, a slow pit stop cost Norris a position. The team responded by asking Piastri to swap places for fairness. In Canada, Norris hit Piastri from behind and took full responsibility. But in Singapore, when Norris forced Piastri off track, McLaren stayed silent. Even the pit data tells a story. Piastri's average stop time 2.97 seconds. Norris's 3.02. No clear favoritism, but small enough margins to feed conspiracy theories. And then came Austin. Piastri's setup was completely off. The car understeered badly through fast corners like turn 3 and the S's. He was 0.3 slower than Norris in qualifying. For a driver built on precision and smooth control, it felt like piloting someone else's car. Yet, that's exactly where Piastri stands out. He doesn't explode. He doesn't lash out. Asked about the sprint crash, he simply said, "It was a racing incident. I went for the cutback." But if I'd known the position behind, maybe I'd have done it differently. No finger pointing, no blame. Just a calm promise to review everything after the weekend. That restraint isn't weakness, it's discipline. Piastri knows that emotion only feeds chaos. With 6 races left and media pressure mounting, he's choosing focus over fury. Step 1, that's identify the root cause. McLaren admitted Piastri's setup in Austin was off. Stella explained the car was too front-heavy, making it unstable in fast sections. The team is now focusing on rebalancing aero and weight distribution for Mexico. Step 2, use Norris's repercussions as quiet leverage. Though the details were never public, whispers in the paddock say Norris might have lost some strategic priority or access to new parts. And Piastri knows, in a title fight, small margins matter. "We have a clear understanding of how we'll race going forward," he said. A calm line, but one loaded with meaning. Step 3, play the long game against Verstappen. The reigning champion has been in form. 2 wins in 3 races, but McLaren's technical edge keeps Piastri in the hunt. On tracks like Austin and Mexico, where mid-speed corners define the rhythm, that advantage counts. So how does Piastri handle the sabotage talk? With quiet precision. He doesn't deny, he doesn't fight the narrative, he just says, "I'd rather be in my position than theirs." A simple, pointed line, part warning, part reminder that he's still in control. Some believe Piastri holds a trump card, internal data proving McLaren's fairness. But maybe his real weapon is composure. While the British press leans toward Norris and team management tries to keep balance, Piastri's silence speaks louder than protest. He doesn't need to win the argument. He just needs to win the next race. Picture the main Grand Prix. Verstappen on pole, Norris beside him, Piastri starting 6th. Turn 1. Chaos again, but by lap 3, with DRS open down Cota's long back straight, Piastri's lining up Hamilton or Sainz for the pass. The plan is simple. Save the mediums early, pit early for fresh softs. Attack through Sector 2, where traction matters most, and McLaren shines. If Norris gets too aggressive again, it could backfire. If Red Bull's tyres degrade as expected, Verstappen's in trouble. Piastri knows all that. "We've reviewed everything," he said. "I'm confident we'll come back." Whatever the result, this weekend leaves a lesson for Formula One. McLaren, 2-time defending Constructors' champion, now faces a deeper test. Not of speed, but of fairness. Sabotage claims might be unproven, but they expose how thin the line is between team strategy and team politics. We've seen it before. Ferrari 2002, Barrichello told to hand the win to Schumacher. Red Bull 2021, pit calls turned into power plays. Now it's McLaren's turn under the microscope. But Piastri isn't a victim, he's an architect. Data-driven, calm under fire, and confident that fairness doesn't need defending, it needs proving on track. When the lights go out in Austin this Sunday, watch Piastri. He might not start on the front row, he might not lead the first lap, but he could be the smartest driver on the grid. He doesn't need sabotage, he doesn't need drama. Just a fair fight, and he'll create the rest himself. So, is this the end of his lead, or the start of something bigger? A quiet new reign from the driver-engineer who refuses to break. Drop your thoughts below. Is McLaren really neutral between Norris and Piastri, or is there a silent game being played inside that papaya garage? Let's talk about it, because in Formula One, the truth doesn't always travel as fast as the cars.